and viewers. So yes, we are, moving into our first guest for this morning, and that is Mr. Bradon Roberts, and of course he is a Tobago tutor officer, and we are going to get into some of the conversation about what's been happening with the back pay for teachers. So good morning and welcome to you, Mr. Bradon Roberts.
Good morning, and thank you for welcoming me this morning. Thanks.
All right, great. So we heard from the division yesterday, just yesterday evening, that over 70% of the teachers have received their pay. They said that even though they had that deadline of December 31st, it became too much for them to meet. So what's your response now after all of that?
Well, actually, I'm not surprised that they weren't able to meet the 31st of December deadline. I would have mentioned before, the time frame given was unrealistic. The instruction for the ministry and the division to have the back pay done came late, and the budget reading the finance minister spoke on September month and spoke before Christmas. The the backlog with teachers is not that they have a set salary where you can just easily do a 4% on it. The processing of the increments and the calculation, those who have leave issues and so on, those things will take some time to calculate. The ministry would have put out on the 18th that back pay will come out on the 19th. So it created an expectation. And then the submissions from the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister, it has to come before Christmas. That unmet expectation led to increased frustration because we have been waiting a very long time. We have only just settled the last year for a 6-year period. And there is another period that would have completed that we still have to go and do that negotiation for. So we have waited a long time. And then to have these expectations given to us and then not met would have caused a frustration. But where I sit, I do understand that the division would have had a challenge in that deadline. However, it is for the ministry and the division to put things in place. I'm not going to be making excuses for them at all. I have the understanding, but if you, especially the division, put out that you're going to have the payments done by December 31st, all effort should have been to ensure that took place. However, I know that they would have been there during the Christmas period, is the weekends. I would have seen pictures of the car park and persons passing and saying that they know that extra work is going in. So the account staff did put in some work to see how best they can have completed it. However, what we were adamant for is that the information needs to go out. We need to update our teachers because we didn't meet the deadline. And I mean, 7 days, only yesterday, 8 days going by, and nothing coming out of the division. Now, I would have been having frequent updates from the administrator. I will speak with as often as I can. However, the division needs to speak to all the teachers, as not all teachers are our members, and they are owed that level of explanation as to what the challenge is, when they're likely to receive their back pay. What I'm even more grateful for is that the division would have created a hotline. I trust that it doesn't become overwhelmed and they can't keep it. Where teachers would call in and find out if probably they're cheated by the auditors, or it's yet to go to the auditors, or they haven't calculated their thing as yet. At least they can get an update and an idea as to what is happening with their back pay. And that, I believe, is commendable of the division, is for the upkeep of it to ensure it becomes successful.
And are you saying that the teachers that have not received their back pay as yet, is it that they are not, though they're mostly not members of TTUTA?
No, not saying it at all. What those who are not have received, I believe they may have had little issues either with leave or with increments, calculating the increments, or they may have had some little errors because the work that they are putting into this, the rush work and the long hours, it could create tired eyes that could make mistakes. So I believe some of those things would have been back and forth, and they would have had some challenges in processing. That's my speculation as to what the challenge could really be. The division did not spell out specifically what the challenge is. However, we are advocating for our members first of all, but I mean, teachers have lives too, and that's why we always advocate for the best of our teachers. We hope that teachers will just put aside all the challenges that come to school and give the best to the children, but they are human beings. And a lot of our teachers have been struggling for years. They are hoping for this back pay where they have a lump sum. They can come out of some kind of hole or some kind of debt or make some investment that they have been longing to make. and then you tell them the 19th, that was the ministry, then the division started 31st. At least now we have a realistic expectation of the 31st of this month. I'm hoping that by the 31st of January, we have all our teachers receiving their back pay. And at least information can be fluent. I believe the secretary did indicate that they will try to give updates weekly, which I appreciate. So I look forward to such.
All right. And then from the ministry standpoint, I know that there were some concerns the broader national tutor had with how the ministry itself handled this. Could you share with us just some of those concerns that you guys have at this point in time?
Well, the ministry is a bit discourteous. The union would have written to the ministry. We would have asked for an update, as they would have put out very early that 90% of the persons received, and that does not fit into the research that we would have done and seeking information from our members. So the ministry, first of all, needs to be honest, and then they need to give an update. They need to follow suit with the division in terms of being transparent with their information. They need to update teachers, because even when we look at the social media, persons are saying like it is as if all teachers in Trinidad fall into that 10%. And the ministry, I suspect, would have a similar challenge. The ministry now have a larger number of teachers to deal with than the division, so their delay may be further behind than the division. But you see, the absence of information is causing the frustration, and they created a hotline, they created an email system, but it's overwhelmed and they're not treating with the persons who are calling in and the emails that are being sent, which is added frustration. So we are actually calling the ministry to do better in terms of providing the information. If you know we're working with them, we could be able to adjust.
Certainly. And then looking forward to 2024, hopefully we can have this back pay situation cleared up very, very soon. But as we look forward to the rest of the year, what can we expect from you guys?
Well, actually, our focus this year, we were hoping that last year would have made a little more progress. It's the plight of the contract teachers. We are hopeful on this end. We hope to have a meeting with the division soon specific to this, where we can work on the proposal to send to cabinet, where we can increase our establishment, first of all, and also those persons where vacancies may be found, they can be placed on the establishment. So that's priority for us. Our contract teachers been waiting for far too long for some level of redress. The other big topic that we are hoping to have treated with this year is the leave classification for extended leave to be done in Tobago. Far too long we are waiting for these things to come up from Trinidad. Sometimes they are taking years. I'm not seeing that the ministry is giving any priority to Tobago matters. So we need to ensure that the needful is done so that Tobago gets the authority to deal with those leave classification. And those things would significantly ease some of the issues our teachers are facing in Tobago. We're hoping to have a smoother flow of the repair program. So I'm hoping to submit something to the division pretty soon, so they can either do their checks for themselves based on what TTUTA would submit and put things in place so that we don't have that banter. I don't enjoy that banter at all. Come September as to which school ready and which school ain't ready, and the misinformation that is going out and the perceived mishandling of the repair program. So I'm hoping that we have a smoother flow of that. We had a better relationship last year than the previous year, so I'm hoping that the relationship remains respectful, because we're not here to be friends and hold each other's hands. But if we work together, we'll be able to be a little more successful than if we had to be out here fighting and tussling with each other. So I'm trusting that this year will be a little more fruitful. Last year was not too bad in terms of some of the progresses that we would have made. But I'm trusting that we remain respectful of each other's portfolio and we do our very best by our teachers, because we have a chief secretary, the secretary, the assistant secretary, all former teachers. So teachers should be smiling, knowing that their best interest is at heart of those who are at the helm. And we hope for a better year this year in terms of the collaboration. We had a fairly good year last year, but there are some significant things that we need to really treat with.
When you look at the contract issue, the contract teachers issues and so on, I know some work has been done where that is concerned, but what has been the conversation like? What's the latest update as to where that situation is and how close are we to getting it resolved?
Well, as far as I am made aware, a meeting is pending. So the report of the task force that was looking into the establishment of the secondary schools, that was supposed to be completed in September last year, and they had the little delays and the tightening up and the editing based on the feedback I was getting. I was informed unofficially that the report is complete, and we are waiting to have that meeting with the division to see how we can work together in putting those things forward. There would be some work we need to do with TSC, because we don't want that spaces or vacancies created in Tobago are then open to those persons in Trinidad, and then there's a fight for those limited spaces where our teachers on contract have been waiting a very long time for this. So it's something that we have to carefully put on the table. We need to ensure that we put our arguments as precise and concise to have things targeted in a way where there's the success that we're looking for. And outside of the contract teachers, I forgot to mention that you see the curriculum issues. I'm really hoping also that that's one of the issues that we could get treated with this year.
Now, there was that on the curriculum issue stuff, side of things. There was that call nearing the end of last year for people or stakeholders who want to be who want to be a part of forming this new Tobago-based curriculum for our students to put forth themselves. Was TTUTA a part of that? Was the TTUTA put forth themselves as a stakeholder to be involved in the formulation of this Tobago-based curriculum?
We got no direct invitation. I know that, I suspect that it will come. As we are very key to this thing. If we don't work together, as I say, because our members, our teachers, the most important key stakeholders in upholding the education system, we need to have a voice there. It's unfortunate it's coming this late, because if the bodies had come together earlier, we could have made some progresses a lot faster than we have to where we are now. I'm actually not even sure where we are now. I'm hearing that the division has something to work with. I don't know what that is. But it's the impact that we are feeling in our schools. This is something that is very urgent, and I don't know what the call is an unofficial thing that I would have seen. Nothing came to me directly, or not to tutor directly, but I trust that we move seriously towards this thing. I know, well, based on the secretary's submission, they would like to have some level of structure, to some degree of, I don't know if it's perfection, before they open out to other persons, but we don't have time for that. We have to build the thing. It have to be a working project where you start certain things and we build on it based on how it goes. You can't spend all this time aiming for perfection, and when it's time to do the rollout, we're having problems. So we need to get things done. The children who are leaving our school each year need to get a better opportunity, and we can't be sitting on the side hoping for perfection to start something in our schools.
Certainly. And then as we look at what's happening within our society today, especially where school violence is concerned and violence spilling over into society and that sort of thing, we're seeing, unfortunately, in Tobago, the creeping up of that gang culture, just spreading over to our young men. What are some of the things that TTUTA wants to see done to make sure that the young boys within our education system, they remain on that good path?
All right, so the Tobago-centric curriculum is really the answer. You see, our education system does not cater for those differently intelligent persons. So we would say those persons are slow because the way in which we teach, they don't easily grasp. But if we use the woodwork, the fishing industry, tourism, those thematic approaches, it may gain their attention in a different way where the information is more meaningful. So when we have particular topics like finding angles in a triangle, that doesn't mean anything to a particular child. If we put the angles based on some concept or something to do with measurement within their life, within their space, where they can see how it actually fits in to their daily living, it gives a greater interest where you could put these persons to build particular things. We could have them easily draft into the carnival costume making stuff. If we make it meaningful, we get a better opportunity to grasp these children's attention. Their attention is not on education, so that's why they are easily distracted into the Trinidad music. They want to prove to their peers that they could be bad too, and it's not easy for a parent, having tried their best, and the children are exposed to the elements that is more captivating than the education curriculum, and it's a task keeping these children on the streets at night. And I empathize with the parents, but we all need to come together. Parents, the teachers, the leaders in Tobago, the community leaders, because the village council and so on have a role to play. It's not that you throw things to teachers or throw things to the police to fix the crime rate. We all have to work together. And I see the call in terms of persons coming together as stakeholders, but it needs to happen. We really need to come to the table and work on how we're going to use our community centers, we're going to use our homework centers, what programs we're going to have in villages or so forth, in addition to the schools. So everything work together towards that common goal of enhancing, that quality of living in Tobago. And you see, even in Tobago, even how we do financial planning and the economy and so on, we have too many persons not too versed in financial management. So poverty and so on, while person may say we don't have popular in Tobago, is in mismanagement of funds. You see students having their books and so on to go to school and so on, and those kind of a thing. So we need to have a program where we factor in the villages, the home, the school, the community leaders and so on, where we can really take Tobago forward.
Oh, and thank you so much, Mr. Bradon Roberts, for giving us an update on all these things that are happening in our space, especially with what's going on with the back pay and then what's going on with our students and teachers here in Tobago.
Again, it's always a pleasure to be on your program.
Certainly. All right. Well, viewers, please don't go anywhere because we've got a lot more coming up for you on GMT.